Hi there, my name is Douglas. I'm the founder at Isleti, and I also have a headlight restoration business. Now in this free tutorial, I'm going to teach you how to professionally restore headlights using the same techniques that I use. Now before we head into the tutorial, I thought it would be wise for me to show you what equipment I use in my headlight restoration business. So we'll just go through over it shortly, then we'll head on straight to the tutorial. So let's begin. So you join me at the boot of my car. So I run a mobile restoration business. So this is basically the setup. We have the car and then we have the equipment here. So I just wanted to go through what I use. So I have a bucket here that I normally use for headlight restoration. Don't mind that. So this is a masking tape. You'll need this, a piece of cloth, a bucket. These are sandpapers. So here we have 400 grits. Let's put that aside and that. So this is a 600 grit used, of course, 1500 grit. So those are the main ones. This is a sanding block. So I normally wrap the sandpaper on these blocks that I use. It's just gentle on my hands. Now you can also use a sanding machine if you have one, but so those strips are normally from this sheet. As you can see, it normally comes in a sheet, then I cut them to strips. So these are new strips that I've cut. So a sheet like this can give you 4 strips. So I fold it first in half and then half again. Then you have 4 strips. So yeah. There's also extra masking tape here. We have a compressor. We have brown sheets to cover the surrounding area of the headlight. You'll see in the video. Then I also have these sheets, which I also use to cover. This is a roll, those are sheets. Then inside here I have an extension, a heat gun, and those bottles that you see, those ones are the chemicals I use. So the chemicals used here is clear coat. I'll just mention it. They're there, but they're not marked, they're not labeled. So this is in a bottle of Fanta, but it's thinner, acrylic thinner. Then I have clear coat hardener. And then there's a standard thinner as well. Then there's I think that's it. That's all that I use for headlight restoration. In here we have rubbing alcohol and my spray gun. So the rest is just the same chemicals. I mix them in different ratios, but overall what I use is clear coat hardener, and its thinners. So yeah, that's the setup. So this is my entire workshop when I go to a client, and that's how it's set up. Okay, in addition to that, I've just remembered I do have a reflector vest that I wear on site, kind of like my uniform. And in this pocket I use face masks. So I have about plenty of them inside the car. So that's mainly to prevent me inhaling those the chemical, the clear coat, which is quite toxic. Then of course I would use a proper mask, but since I'm working outdoors, nothing is required for now. Although I do have a ventilator mask, a respirator masks as well in there. So that's it. So let's head on to the tutorial. Thank you. To the main tutorial where I show you how to restore headlights. Now immediately we start off with the 240 grit, wrap it on the sanding disc I showed you earlier, and then begin sanding on the lens. Hash patterns, of course. Hash patterns just basically means vertical then horizontal. I begin with 240 because from experience it's what gets rid of the oxidation effectively without me using a lot of effort, and whatever damage can occur while using the 240 can be easily reduced. By damage I mean scratches. If they are too deep, it's easy to remove the 240, and it just hits the right balance between effort and effectiveness. So of course, work on the entire lens. The purpose of the 240 is mainly to remove the oxidation, which is the yellow haziness, as you can see from the headlight. That's the main purpose of using a heavy grit sandpaper. So I work on it thoroughly, work on the corners, work on every single surface, and ensure that it's quite evenly worked on and evenly hazy. Now, as you can see, after the wipe, that's how it looks like. And I'm proud of that finish. Now we move on next to the next sandpaper. I'm yet to confirm, but yeah, this seems like it. So again, the sanding horizontal hash patterns. Now the main purpose of this, okay, let's give a minute. Yeah, that's the P400 grit sandpaper. The purpose of using the 400 grit sandpaper is to remove whatever sanding masks that have been created by the 240. It's just to ensure that it's even, it removes majority of the damage that has occurred and enables the lens to be much clearer. At this point, it's just restoration of the lens using sanding rather than removal of the oxidation after the 240. So working on it with the 400 enables me to remove any sanding marks that have been caused by the 240, which enables the process to be clearer down the road when applying the clear coat. So yeah, even better. So that's the first process. I do need to mention that this feed has been sped up, so this is not my working rate. So that's how it is. It's been edited. So again, we are moving on to the 600 grit sandpaper. Again, same process to remove the sanding marks that have been caused by the 400 grit sandpaper. Because if you apply clear coat at the 240 or the 400 stage, you will notice the sanding marks on the lens. That's why we move on to the 400, 600 smoother sanding finishes, so that they may not be visible and the lens can be as good as new. So again, same process with the 600 hash patterns, working on every surface that you've been working on, so that nothing can be visible from the previous sandpaper. Now, as you can note, I didn't mention this as well, but you can notice the masking tape surrounding the headlight. That was done before I started, and that's to ensure that the areas close to the lens don't, when I'm sanding, I don't scratch the paint as well. That's why I put masking tape over there. So that helps a lot from experience. So do apply the tape first before sanding. Okay, now we are on to the 1500 grit sandpaper, the final one. Of course, you can move on to the 8 and the 1000, then the 15. But from experience, that doesn't make much difference. So I move on straight to the 1500 grit sandpaper. And now this will be the final finish. And I'll stop there. Now, of course, you can proceed with the 2000, the 3000 grit sandpaper. But to me, this will suffice. Therefore, I will stop at this grit sandpaper. Now, I'm also working on this car, the Prado J120, has plastic fog lights as well. That's why I'm also sanding them.
They are included in the headlight restoration service for free at no additional cost. So same process as the lens, the headlight, the main headlight, and I've also put masking tapes around the fog light lens for the same purposes, so that when I'm sanding, I avoid any scratch marks appearing on the paint as well, to reduce work done and also be neat and avoid any other damage apart from the sanding that's going to happen on the lens. So that's what I'm doing right now. Then I think we'll just wait and see what's next. Then I'll be able to guide you through the entire process. Okay, now we are on to using the heat gun. I like using the heat gun after I've completely cleaned it effectively. I use the heat gun to ensure that it's dry and I'm not working on damp areas or water might interfere with the next stage, which is covering the headlight and applying masking tape. So I use the heat gun to ensure every surface is dry, including the masking tape that is surrounding the headlights. So dry that, and it just makes the next step much easier. Now these bags, these papers, the brown papers I showed you earlier in when this video began, and this is a used one. I tend to recycle them from time to time, and it just makes me save up on costs. So this one has already been used, so I'm cutting it to fit properly on this headlight. Probably I might not be able to use it again, because again it will be too much damaged for any other job. So I'll use a new one on the next one. So I use the proper thing to do would be to use plastic sheeting that covers the entire car, but plastic bags are banned in Kenya. Hence, I have to use brown bags like this. I just ensure that I've covered the area enough to avoid overspray getting onto the paint. That's the main purpose of covering the headlight. Now, this suffices for most instances from experience. It works well enough and doesn't damage the paint. So that's why I use these bags. If I sense anything that it might be too much, I will add on new papers adjacent to whatever I have. But generally, the size of these papers tend to do the job. Now, yeah, as you can see, the 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 surrounding area is covered, and the headlight, I just leave the lens fully exposed. So I'll do that. I'll do the same on the fog lights as well, and just ensure that it's well covered, and only the lens of the fog light is exposed as well. Yeah, so one of the tools that I also had in the box that I showed you earlier when the video began was a pair of scissors. So everything is there, and as you can see in the background, that's my car, and the boot is open because that's where the workshop is. Now, for majority of the jobs that I go on, what happens is that the equipment tends to stay inside the car, and if the client comes, I live quite close to the yard. I just pop in immediately and do the job. The reason why it stays in the boot of the car is just for logistic purposes. When I'm called, majority of my jobs are mobile, so it's much easier if they're in the car than on the site. So that's why they're always in the car. When I'm called, I just start the car, head on to the client's location immediately. Now, let's just wait to see the next step. Okay, we're still wrapping. Um, I enjoy this business. I've been working on it for over 8 years, and I love it. And my intention of me showing you this is that I become a leading authority on headlight restoration. Now at this stage, I'm using rubbing alcohol. That's what's inside the spray bottle. I just it's preparation purposes to ensure no oils are on the lens. It's nice and clean, and when spraying, I won't have any issue whatsoever. So I've learned that from experience, so it's quite an important step. Now here I'm going to spray. Again, that's clear coat, that's what's in the gun. Different mixing ratios, specifically suited for my job. Now that's testing the spray, ensuring that the spray pattern is okay and nothing is going to put blemish on the clear coat. So yeah, first light spray is just to ensure that it's evenly covered and nice, and to aid also in the process of ensuring that I have a good finish. Now, of course, overlapping 50-50 motions. Then I work from one side, then head straight on to the other side. And as you can see, that's a brand new headlight, and that's exactly what I like to see. And at this point, the customer is quite pleased. Was they were doubting the whole time, but now all their doubts are gone, and they are quite pleased with how the headlights look. Now, this is another repeat. The first coat will be a bit hazy, so that's why I put two coats, but also it's for extra protection. And as you can see, that's exactly what's happening. The second coat is quite clearer than the first coat. So I do the same for the fog lights. And ladies and gentlemen, that's how you restore a headlight to new again. Now, of course, the spraying technique and all that will require time, but you should be able to achieve similar results using a spray can with practice before spraying. Now, the next stage that definitely I didn't see anyone else do is the curing process, which is exactly what I'm doing here. I'm using a heat gun. The heat from the heat gun aids in curing the clear coat. So that's why I'm using the heat gun in this instance. And it's something that I've learned through my professional career and as a business owner doing headlight restoration. It's quite important to cure the headlight. The customers are not patient enough to wait for the headlight to cure. So you have to do this beforehand. Secondly, I have a warranty on the restoration process, and this helps in reducing the times a client has to claim a warranty. Yes. So by the time I'm done with this, the headlight is 90% cured. Just a little bit remaining. And if there's any claim on warranty, the main issue is always that I did a mistake somewhere along the process, which is inevitable no matter how much experienced you are. That's why it's always good to be prepared, and part of the preparation requires me to cure the headlight immediately, and as you've seen, it's immediately after I'm done spraying. So always cure in overlapping motions. Ensure that your hand is not still in one particular place because of damage from the heat, which might end up causing damage on the lens, burning it, and that's an entire different um, story altogether. So just avoid it and ensure you're always moving your hand. Now, heat is definitely close to maximum at this point. Close to. I've just learned to use it over time and ensure overlapping motions. Give it time to cool down. Then after it's cooled down, check the tactility of the clear coat and ensure that it's not too tacky. Specifically, if it's dry, yeah, like I'm checking over there. If it's not, repeat the process again. So this is my second round of the curing process. Now, of course, the video has been sped up. This is not my normal work rate, so just be aware of that. So this is my second curing. I always put my hand close to ensure that I'm not burning anything by sticking around in one area for too long. So again, work on all areas, edges, corners. This helps. Again, so I'm going to work on the other headlight as well. This happens for both headlights. It's not just one. Whatever I've done on this headlight, I'll do on the other fog light as well, and everything will happen at the same time. So once I finish spraying this, I spray the other one. Once I finish curing this with a heat gun, I cure the other one. Only that in this video it's been edited and the entire process has not been fully uh, uh, fully shown. Others the video would be too long, and I want just a simple video to show you how to restore your headlights like a professional. It seems I'm happy with the results and how tacky the headlight is, and it seems it's well cured enough. So remove the covers, and I think the next we'll remove the surrounding masking tape for the final finish. Ensure the car is clean, of course. Wipe any residue from sanding, and just let the car be presentable, and I'm happy with the results. As you can see, the headlight looks as good as new. If you just look at the before photos, then it should be fantastic what I've been able to achieve, and this is all can also be achieved by you. So I remove the masking tape surrounding the fog lights as well, and we are set. So if you'd like to know more about headlight restoration, I do offer a full course on this with full disclosure of my techniques, mixing ratios, other tips and tricks that I use for my headlight restoration business. I've been in the headlight restoration business for more than 8 years, and you're welcome to learn by supporting me. And I hope to be, my aim is to be the authoritative leading authority on headlight restoration, and I hope you will gain from this and maybe start your own business as well. Now you see the headlight is cured well enough for me to test it with water. Same with the fog lights as well. Then I'll give it a wipe, and we are done, ladies and gentlemen. That is the job. All that remains is for the client to pay me and give them a warranty, and we are done. So yeah, as you can see, my assistant as well is parking the car, and we're all good to go. So like I said, there's a course. If you'd like to start your own business, feel free to check out the course and contact me on WhatsApp on this website and search for Tisleti on all socials. Reach out and I'll be able to help you. Cheers, guys. Thank you for your attention and your time.